Happy hump day, everyone. It is another Wednesday, right? This is the day where we come together to journey to more out of our lives, more out of our businesses, and more out of us. We deserve more from us so that we can live the lives that we were always intended to live, and we can have the prosperity that we were always intended to have because we are entrepreneurial. And so today I am super. Y'all know my word. If you're going to follow this channel, we know we're going to say super at some point during the broadcast. I am super excited today to have with me Misty Ryan, who is going to join me in a few seconds as we unpack living life without limits, activating faith, and overcoming fear. Y'all see my shirt? I came ready because it is time for us to get ready. I know y'all don't want to hear a lot about me preaching. Let me go ahead and talk to y'all about Misty. Misty Ryan Esquire. She's another one of those 2% of Black female attorneys in the US. She is a business strategist, a speaker, and attorney with over 15 years of entrepreneurial and corporate experience. She's worked in the finance industry, the real estate industry. Yeah, she is the embodiment of I am and more. The legal industry, information technology. She is a business visionary that specializes in cultivating and transforming corporate cultures. Just put, yeah, that's me in the chat if you ever worked at a job and you were like, they just need to get it together. Like, get their culture together. It feels thick. You call Misty when you have that issue. You reach out to Misty when you have that issue. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in English from Notre Dame of Maryland University. She has a Master's of Arts in Legal and Ethical Studies from the University of Baltimore, a Juris Doctorate. She holds an LLM, an advanced legal degree in cyber law and data privacy. I can't even talk to y'all no more. Let's bring the Misty Ryan to the stage. Misty, how are you?
Hello. I am doing well. I'm going to use your word. I am doing super.
Listen, we are jam-packed and we are talking about unlocking and activating our faith and overcoming fear. I just need everybody to type in the chat wherever you are. Get ready, because it's time for us to prepare for the life that we really want. And so if we think about that, can you talk to me about what does faith mean to you, Misty?
So I'm going to kind of start with something cliche. I will say this: faith is everything to me. It is. It's a relationship that I have with God. And I believe that faith is the relationship between God and every individual person. It doesn't include anyone else. It's not put on stage for show. It's faith is something that you do when it's just you and no one else, you and God. And I do believe I like to make the distinction between faith and fellowship because sometimes people will confuse the two. I think faith is it's complete trust. It's complete trust and it's complete confidence in something or someone. Generally, it's something or someone that's unknown. We don't have proof that it exists, or we don't have proof that it's going to come to fruition, but we believe anyway. And fellowship, that's what we do when we get together with people of like interests, of like belief. And we generally do something just as Christians, we get together and we fellowship and we praise God. That's an example of fellowship. But faith is something deeper. It's something that is personal to each person. And that's how I look at faith.
Yeah, you said a few gems
Uh,
already. Listen, y'all should already be, you know how I am. Like, share,
yes.
tag the broadcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel. She said it's personal.
It's
And
crazy.
one of the things that I think that we do as people is we try to invite people in on our faith to help us have faith. But
Yes.
what I'm hearing from you is we actually just need to stay in our own lane and keep it personal, because it's really between us and God on whether or not we're going to believe without proof.
Without proof. Exactly. Without proof. And
Man,
I think that's what's difficult for people sometimes. If you're in a situation where you are just uncertain, maybe you are confused about the next step that you should take or the path that you should take, and you don't know which way to go. And that's when your faith is tested the most. When we're in those situations that we just can't explain and can't see our way through, that's when we rely on our faith.
so when we're in these uncertain situations
Mhm.
and we had to activate like a higher level of faith, how have you done that in your life?
Oh, well, I can start with an example or a little story, I'll say. Um, I think a time in my life where I have operated on sheer faith, when I honestly could not see my way through. I did not know how the situation would turn out, was actually on my journey to becoming an attorney.
Okay.
I'm native of Maryland, and I had moved to North Carolina to attend law school and become a lawyer. And in the middle of this was, I think it was right before exams as well, right before finals, my law school shut down, literally shut down. And I did not know what I was going to do because I had moved my kids here, schools, everything. I turned my life upside down to do this. And there are no more law schools close to where I was. I had to regroup. I call it my bottom drop moment, because I
Mm,
honestly did not know. It felt like my life, just blew up. So I kind of give myself like a day and a half, I think. And I just cried it all out. And I
mm,
prayed, and I said, God, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to finish this degree. I know that I have to finish this degree. So what I did, I applied to several law schools, and I had to make a choice between, and I kind of did it this way. I said, do I want to, if I'm with my kids, because I know I had to bring my two younger kids with me. That was just not, I didn't have a choice there. I was not going to not have my babies with me.
yeah.
So if I have to uproot my life again, do I want to be somewhere cold or do I want to be somewhere warm? Because I thought about my car breaking down, just things like that. And I said, it probably makes more sense to be somewhere where it's warm. So I ended up in Florida. We ended up in Florida, in Miami. Um, and yeah, I literally went on sheer faith. I chose where we were going to live online. I had to choose sitters to help me with the kids. I went from an evening part-time student to a full-time day student when I transferred to Florida. So I am telling you, my life changed drastically, and I didn't want to leave Charlotte. I love Charlotte. So it was a lot. But I can tell you this, that my faith, when I did not see my way, when I did not know how things were going to turn out, it it definitely was my faith in God.
So, Missy, you said a lot there. I'm going to come back to everything that you just said, but I want
Mhm.
to pull out something because I know that there are a lot of people where we give ourselves these time frames or timelines for us to do things. And if it doesn't happen in that timeline, we say, forget about it. We're stuck here. What age did you go to law school, Misty?
Oh my goodness. So I started law school at 37,
Oh, okay.
37 years old, married with three
Mm.
children.
Mm.
Actually, our oldest was starting undergraduate school in Atlanta. So the same time we were moving here to North Carolina, about 2 weeks later, we had to move her to Atlanta. So this was not convenient for me. This was not convenient. It was nothing but my faith.
Listen, did y'all hear what she just said? She didn't let the fact that she was 37, 3 children, and married. These are three huge roles that are hard to balance.
Mm-hmm.
She went on to take on a career that's one of the hardest careers to even get into because of her faith and belief in something. And one of the things that you said when you were speaking earlier was that even though the road had got tough, you had a human moment, because having faith, unlocking your faith and overcoming
Mm-hmm.
fear does not mean not having a human moment. You had a human moment, you cried it out,
Mm-hmm.
and then said, well, I got to take some steps because I got a goal to get to. And so, I commend you for that. And I thank you for that, because you're here on the other side. And I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm going to start testifying for her right now in a minute. Her daughter, the one that in the middle of her starting law school or moving to Charlotte, she was going to undergrad.
Yes,
That daughter is now about to sit for the bar exam.
she
So
is.
the 37-year-old law student set the stage and a blueprint for her daughter to then follow in her footsteps. And she didn't let anything stop her, even when the law school shut down.
Yes. Yes. And this also is the daughter that I had at 17 years of age. So
Mm.
it really does come full circle. You could not have told me when I was 17 that, and I was I will say this, I was very deliberate about the type of mother that I wanted to be. I always have felt, even at that young age, I knew that God had selected me to be the mother of each of my children. And that's always been something that I've cherished, I've taken very seriously, and I look at as a blessing. So I knew that I wanted to open doors for my daughter that I didn't have open for me. And I wanted I wanted to make her road a little bit easier. But you could not have told me at 17 years old that not only I be an attorney, that I would have my baby would be an attorney as well. So I feel that it has come full circle, and I'm just so honored, and I feel so blessed that God has put what He has put in me, the perseverance that He has put in me, the maturity that He has put in me when I should not have had it. I'm so blessed about that. And Kay, if you're listening, hello. She may be tuning in. And Kinsley too. Kinsley and Bryce. I have to say Bryce. I may as well name them
You
all.
gotta get all the kids now.
I
You
love
gotta get
y'all.
all the kids when you say one's name.
Yes.
That your story is so powerful. And for those of you that are tuned in, you should be lighting up the comments. You should be sharing this broadcast with people, making sure that they are tuning in to be encouraged. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to my shirt right now. I
Get
think that we
ready.
are in an opportune time to get ready for all the things that we want, that is down on the inside of our hearts, that is down on the inside of our minds, even if it's been something that we decided we wanted to do years ago and we put it on the back burner. It is now time to dust that thing out, because we are unlocking our faith and
Mhm.
overcoming our fear, because now we're going to live life without limits. Because if we take what Misty did, she just took the limits off. A child at 17, I'm taking the limit off. 20 years later, I'm deciding to go to law school, I'm taking the limits off.
Yes.
The school shut down, I'm taking the limits off. If you give it to me, it doesn't matter because I'm sending it back. I didn't
Yes.
ask for it. I'm going on and on.
Yes,
So,
no.
I'm going to calm down because I get really passionate about it. As I talk about faith and overcoming fear.
Mhm,
Um, when you were in a moment, and I'm sure there were plenty moments while you were
mhm.
journeying to more for your life, how did you overcome fear?
And with me, I'm such a planner. So so I like to, when I'm describing things, when I'm, oh my goodness, I see Kay. Thank you, Kay. I kind of like to think of things in a step fashion, and it kind of helps me work through what I need to work through. So I think first you have to recognize fear for what it is.
Mm,
A lot of times, some people will, they won't acknowledge the fear. They may make excuses. They may blame other people. They may come up with all types of reasons other than it being fear. And I think that to overcome anything, you have to first acknowledge it, what it is. And fear is something that's very natural, it's something that's very normal, but you have to make the choice not to stay there. So once you recognize it, you acknowledge it. You acknowledge it, and then you come up with a plan to overcome it, and you overcome it by action. I say that a lot of people will say, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But if you just say it without action, a plan without action, I say it's nothing at all. So you have to recognize fear, acknowledge it, and then you have to come up with a plan and act on it. And it's through acting on it, you see that really what you feared in the beginning, you had no reason to fear at all. At all. Fear, I wrote down something because I didn't want to forget this. And some of you may have heard this. But fear is false evidence appearing real. It's false. There is nothing truth in fear. It's usually your mind running and taking winds and turns, and you're coming up with all of these situations that won't even come to fruition anyway. So just think about that. Fear is false. So instead of using it to keep you stuck, instead of using it to keep you stagnant, you use it to catapult you over, over whatever you are fearing so that you can journey to more.
listen, y'all heard her give us a step by step plan. She said, one, recognize it, identify
Mhm,
it. Two, make a choice not to stay there. Come
mhm.
on. How many times do we decide to live in that moment? Right after we decide we're not going to live there, then we got a plan. Make a plan to overcome it. And then the fourth thing we have to do is act.
Yeah.
Y'all know me. So, some a biblical principle is going to flow out at some point. Faith without works is dead. We have
Yes.
to stop staying in the place where we always say something while doing nothing. What are you doing to nurture the seeds that you're planting of faith?
Yeah.
How are you growing it? How are you making sure that you trim the tree to make sure that it's growing in the right way?
Yes.
If we're helping somebody, put help in the chat for me. Encourage us to keep going. We're talking about this incredible moment in time where we really had to lean into the reality of what's happening in our lives. And a lot of times we like to deny reality. I know I've done it before. I've been like, you know what? I'm just going. I'm not even going to look at this. There are certain emails I didn't look at because I'm not going. I'm not. I don't want to know what's on the other side of the email. There were times where I said, you know what? I'm just not going to go and make that pitch. I'm not going to do this thing. But at some point along my journey, I started to act. And so a part of my acting was, I even if I have to write out a little skit, I will write out a skit
Mhm.
of what I'm going to say to plan out how I'm going to get over the fear. So when I walk up to a man and say, "Hey, I think that I should do this for you."
Mhm.
I'm scared, but I'm doing it afraid. And guess what? On the other side of that is a life that I didn't imagine. When I don't know the outcome and I say, "Y'all, I'm quitting my job. I'm
Yeah.
out here. I need to be able to plan and think to make sure entrepreneurs are set up properly. I need to be able to plan and think to make sure that they know how to legally protect their business and their profits."
Mhm.
And sitting there being controlled by somebody and their schedule doesn't work for what God wants me to do right now. And so I'm acknowledging I'm scared.
Yeah.
Ain't no husband yet, so
Yeah.
who can? Thank you, mama. My mama paid my car insurance, so thank you, mama, for that. Mama is helping. After all these 33 years, she's still gonna help this one out. Um, but there's no one to pick up the financial pieces if things don't work out.
Mhm.
But what if they do?
Yes. Yes.
What if it goes right and it is beyond your imagination?
Yes.
What in your life has been beyond your imagination because you exercise faith?
I'm going to tell you honestly, well, I've been an entrepreneur for most of my career, actually, even though prior to me going to law school, I primarily stayed at home and worked from home. And my husband and I, we have a software development company. Um, and I was thinking the other day, like, we have been working for ourselves most of our career. And that in of itself is a blessing. It is more than what we could have ever dreamt or thought. I remember when, I'll put a number to it. I remember when we made up to maybe 40,000. And
Mm,
that was a big deal.
yeah,
That was a big deal. So we would have been happy with maybe 60,
yeah.
you know. And when you sit and you think about what you want to accomplish and then what you have accomplished, the balance, the difference, it's God. For me, I attribute that to God. God can do for us in our lives so much more than we ever imagined. So I think that just the fact that we've been able to work for ourselves and support our family all of these years, it's a blessing.
So that means for most of your career, you have not needed to take PTO or ask somebody for PTO.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, okay. So that means you could take a 2-hour lunch if you feel like it.
That's correct.
Okay, so that means if you decide that the day is over at 10 a.m., the day is over.
The day is over.
Ah, because I needed that to be painted clear to someone who is on the borderline or
Yeah,
trying to think through of should I take a chance on me?
yes.
And I'm telling you right now, you taking a chance on them. Misty, you took a chance on them when you went to that law school and you in the middle of finals, and now there's
Yeah.
no more law school.
Hmm.
So then why can't we have enough faith in ourselves to take a chance on us?
Yes.
Somebody type in the chat right now, I'm taking a chance on me. From this point on, I am taking a chance on me.
Yes.
Tell yourself that until you believe it, until it's like something that's always on the front of your mind as you go forward, because that's part of the plan to overcome. The
Mhm.
most thoughts and conversations that we hear are the thoughts and conversations we have with ourselves. So if you're not counseling you right, if you're not talking to you right, then how are you ever supposed to get yourself to the place of more? Because we heard Misty, she said she didn't imagine that this was about to be. At one point, it was like, ooh, 40K.
Mhm.
Ooh, 60K. And I know she probably is already like, hey, 40K in a month. Hey, 40K in a quarter. Like, like then you start to see that there is more on the
More.
other side of you taking a chance on you.
Yes. Yeah.
Listen, listen. So you decided in your life you were not going to settle for comfortable circumstances, whether you were going to abandon fear
Mhm.
and you were going to go after the life that you want. So can you talk to us like what was happening in your mind as you're thinking through the decision of I don't care that I am married with 3 children. I feel led to go to law school.
And I wanted by that time I had wanted to be an attorney from the very beginning, for most of my adult life. Um, but since I had my daughter so young, and by the time I got married and we decided to have more kids, I wanted to put my children first. So I essentially did it in reverse. Instead
Ah,
of building a career on the front end, I guess I've been building it all along because, we've been in information technology with the software development, but I wasn't working on myself and what I wanted to do. Um, so I think I lost. I so that was it.
okay.
That was it.
Okay. No, that I feel like that's important for us to think through because as you're walking out and you're unlocking your faith and you're getting ready to live a life without limits,
Hmm.
there are so many small decisions
Yeah.
that you have to continuously make to keep going
Hmm.
in faith. For me as an entrepreneur, it's like, okay, I am going to continue making offers to people
Hmm.
because my mentor puts it like this, you have a moral obligation to present the solutions and opportunities that you have to the people that need them.
Hmm.
And the reality is, if someone had the cure to cancer, would we want them to be quiet about it?
Mm,
If
mm,
someone had the cure to Alzheimer's, would we want them to be quiet about it? And the flip side of that is that if they are quiet about it, the people who need them don't get what they need.
yes.
So it's almost like we have the moral obligation to unlock our faith and overcome fear just because it's unselfish because there's somebody probably depending
Hmm.
on our story.
Hmm.
Do you know how many people are now going to say age doesn't matter for me?
Yes.
Do
It
you
does.
know now how many familial people in familial situations are going to say
Mhm.
that doesn't matter? I can still do this.
Mhm.
Miss,
Yes.
I'll keep going on and on and on, but I kind of want to talk here
Hmm.
as I'm thinking through what type of thoughts do you have to tell yourself when you're in a faith season?
So when I am in a faith season, I think it's so important not only what you tell yourself, but just who and what you surround yourself with. It is so important to know that just your environment and the people around you and the messaging around you, what you read on the internet, what you see in your friend groups, that is important. And it has an effect on what you are telling yourself. So for me, I think now in this season of my life, I'm evaluating, and looking at what I have around me that can influence how I think about fear or and faith in situations that I come up against. But some things that I tell myself, I wrote a few notes down because I wanted to make sure I got this out, and I hope that it will resonate with someone. I have to tell myself that fear is false, fear is a lie, fear misleads, and fear is the catalyst of false narratives. There is nothing good that can come out of giving into fear. And I have to always remind myself of that when I'm in those seasons where I am questioning, where I am doubting, where I am fearful. I have to remind myself that during all of the hard times in my life, it's been me pushing past that fear that have been the best times of my life, that have built the most character in my life, the most confidence and the most strength. So getting to the other side of that fear, it feels good. And I think that I remind myself of that when I am in those seasons
No,
where it's a balance between fear and faith. I think a lot of times, it's that push and that pull against, my faith. It's what I believe, but the fear is unknown, and it's that push and pull. But what we have to understand and what we have to remember is that it's a choice. We make a choice every day to say, I'm going to let my faith or I'm going to let my fear. And on most days, I choose my faith.
listen, don't you just love the transparency? Most days I choose my faith.
Yes,
Because there are some days where it just gets tough. It was some days I said, did I hear right?
yes.
Did I leave too soon? And then it just like, oh no, I told you that. And I will open up,
Hmm.
and pour out a blessing you don't even have room to receive,
Hmm.
a blessing you didn't even know or could not even perceive. And I like how you said the unknown, right?
No.
We're dealing with two unknowns, a good
Hmm.
unknown and a bad unknown.
Hmm.
And if you are a person of faith, when does your father promise you a bad unknown?
Yes.
When does your
Yes.
father promise you a bad unknown?
And I look, I had written down some Bible verses
Okay.
because I said, look, I need to think about, I always say, take it back to basics. Take it back to basics to me is take it to the Bible. The Bible talks
Okay.
about everything. And it's like, well, what does God say about fear? So I just want to share some of these. And it's just a reminder to us to know that we don't have a fearful God. He did not make us, He did not build us, He did not design us to be fearful. So I just hope that these maybe resonate with someone. The first one I have is John 14:27.
Okay.
Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. That's no fear. Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord God will be with you wherever you go. Wherever you go. Those are some powerful words. So even in times of unknown, even in times when we're uncertain, even when we cannot see our way, God's going to be with us. Timothy 1:7, for the spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but it gives us power, love, and self-discipline. So I just think that sometimes we need a reminder, whether you are a believer or not. I just believe that God still puts in us what we need to become and to do what He designed us to do.
I mean, I got my reminder today.
Yes.
for me to remember how I was designed to think about faith. And that if there are moments of fear, it's okay, but understand that I'm not operating as designed
Yes.
if I choose to go down the path of fear.
Hmm.
And one of the things that you said is we have to be in the right environments.
Yes.
And sometimes we think of the environments as our friends, but something you hit on is our television.
Mm.
What are you subscribed to on YouTube?
Yes.
What music are you listening to? What podcasts are you listening to? What are you doing in your free time that is going towards living a life
Mhm.
without limits and unlocking your faith? Because so many times we think of like some of the outside things, but it all starts down on the inside with us.
Mhm.
And I know we're about to come up to our last like few questions. It's getting good, but still share, tag the broadcast. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel for more great content on our journeys to more out of our lives, ourselves, and for some of us, our businesses. And liking the Facebook page because it's some gems out here that come from Missy, and it's gems out here that come from people that we may not even know today, but we're getting connected with who need to say one thing. All it takes is one thing to unlock one key to unlock a door.
Yes.
And I've like been like, the keys have just been in like my head, like keys open doors. When you go into a new room, there's an opportunity there. Keys lock doors that should never been open.
Mhm.
Keys start the ignition of transportation to take you somewhere.
Mhm.
So it's important that you get the right keys as you're journeying to more. And faith is a key you're going to need in and out.
Yes.
Like whatever you're doing in life, you're going to need the key to faith. So as we come to a close and we think through how we create limits on our own lives.
Mhm.
Sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, nope, can't do this. Oh, nope, that's not it. How do you really make sure that you are living a life without limits?
I pray. I
Mm,
pray, and then when I pray, if I have a question, if I am uncertain about what direction I should go in, what step I should take, I pray about it. And then the second thing I do is I am real with myself. I'm very, I always say, well, my dad, he always says, if it's one person you don't fool, it's yourself. So
mm.
I don't fool myself. I assess where I am, where I want to go, how I get there, and I just put my plan in action.
I mean, you
Yeah.
hear the plan. She didn't let that. She not letting nothing stop her. And I think I got a little misty in me because I don't think anything can stop me either. And if it feels like it's stopping me at some point, I say to myself, self, I really do like, Jamila, come here. Let's have a conversation with yourself. Come here. Now, what's happening? Because sometimes when things do start to get a little tense,
Mm,
we don't see properly what's really happening.
yeah.
And I remember I was studying for my first bar exam, and I wanted the last week before the exam, I took on like a part-time job to do some teaching during the day.
Oh, oh no.
I'm a woman of faith. Listen, I was like, yeah, I can do that little 4 hours. Ain't gonna be nothing each day. I got my, and so I didn't get that. I didn't, I went to the school and they were like, oh no, we made some changes. Sorry, we forgot to tell you. And I was like, what? I could have been studying. I like threw a fit. And I was like in my bed crying, like, I can't believe I'm not getting this extra money because I had walked away from my job
Mhm.
because I felt led to, really jump into the legal field.
Mhm.
So I'm throwing my adult temper tantrum. Yes, adults have temper tantrums. Let's be real. I'm throwing my adult temper tantrum. And God was like, excuse me, do you work? Are your lights on?
Mhm.
Are your bills paid? You have a car sitting outside in New York City.
Yes.
There's gas in your car. You have a roof over your head, and there is money in your savings and bank account. What's your problem? I don't know who may be having an adult temper tantrum in life right now or may have gone through a moment like that. But if
Mhm.
you feel like it's tense, pause and
Yeah.
figure out what is really going on in your life and all the things that are going right. That one moment changed the course of my life. Like me sitting down, like living in the reality and saying, there's a lot of good that's happening right now.
Mhm.
Why are you zoned in the one thing that you probably shouldn't have had in the first place?
Yes.
Because what are you doing a week before the bar exam, carrying your tail down to the school to make extra money?
Ooh.
Look, you can feel the stress, Kayla. Don't do it, okay, Kate? Don't do it. Learn from my lesson. But it was a key that I needed to really unlock my next level of faith
Mhm.
and just having a better understanding on life.
Mhm.
And even though we want to live it without limits as it relates to fear, we also want to balance it and make sure that we're smart in
Yes.
some of the limits that we need to have,
Mhm.
the discipline that we need to have.
Mhm.
Because faith without the right habits and the right discipline will cause you to fail when you were supposed to succeed.
Mm.
So as a the final before the final,
Yes.
how do you build discipline in your life? Because you have so many roles going on. How do you maintain being disciplined?
I think the first thing to do, and this is something that I have worked on all of my life, but I think that I am getting a little better at it as I get older. But I think you have to prioritize. It's so important to prioritize. And I am the type of person who says, I'm a people pleaser and I want to help everybody. It's just in me. That's the way I was made. But I've learned that I have to say no sometimes. And I have to assess what's important, what's immediate, and then address those things, say no to the things that I can't commit myself to, and be all right with it.
Listen, y'all heard it here first from Misty on our keys to unlock our faith, overcome our fear, and live life without limits as it relates to fear and some healthy limits as it relates to a person like me who gonna, create some interesting goals. She says she prioritizes, she
Mhm.
knows when to say no, and then she figure out what is an immediate need and what can wait.
Yes.
And I think that's me too. And the only thing I would add would be I am just now uncomfortable. I am comfortable with other people being uncomfortable with me learning how to take
Yes.
care of myself
Yes. Yes. That is
because
so true.
I'm not okay. Then I can't do anything else well.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, no is for our benefit.
Yes.
You may not see it. It's not for you to see, but it's for me to make sure I'm living well so that I can do all the things that I am supposed to do and get all of the things I'm supposed to have.
Yes. Self-care. Self-care is so important. And it reminds me of when you get on a flight. And the attendants, they're going through all of the instructions, and they talk to you about the mask dropping down. And if you need oxygen, what do they tell you? You need to put that oxygen on yourself first. You can't help anyone else, even if it's your own child, if you don't take care of yourself first. So that's something I'm also working on the older I get, that it's okay to say no and it's okay to take care of me. Because as much as I want to help those around me, I can't do any of that if I'm not okay. So I think that's an important point. Self-care.
Listen, having the faith that it'll get done if it waits.
Mhm. Mhm.
Having the faith that
Mhm.
you can maintain a relationship even if I tell you no.
Yes.
And overcoming the fear of the backlash.
Yes.
We going into a whole nother subject. I'm gonna
Yes,
stop
we
here.
are.
I'm gonna stop here. Do you have any final thoughts or comments on our topic for tonight?
And I'm not sure who's listening in, but I'm moved to say this. If there is anyone out there that is fearful, that you're on the fence about something, maybe there's just this nagging goal that you've been wanting to accomplish, or you've been putting it off. I just want you to know that you are enough. You are enough, and you have everything in you that you need to journey to more. You have everything you need in you to accomplish your goals. I am living proof. I am living proof of that. If I can do it, you can do it, anyone can do it.
Listen, I agree with you, Misty. And one of the things that I like to say, and I actually put it on my website because, like, I've really been like thinking through how we are to really live prosperous lives. And
Mhm.
we make the choice to settle in comfort and don't really do what we can do to live as prosperous as possible.
Yes.
Right. And so that's why I've like come here and I like beat people over the head like, hey, if you have a unique idea that is a solution for people, then you need to tap in to this channel, visit the website
Yes.
iamempowered.com, build out that business, monetize your skills, learn how to protect it,
Yeah.
because most of the people on the Forbes list, it started because they believed in themselves and chased a dream through a business. And so, I'm not just talking about this. I am trying to give you a key, another key. You need the key of faith, you need the key of this, and then
Yeah.
you need the key that Misty can give you as it relates to your organizational culture and then sustaining the business for so many years.
Yes.
It's all a collective work together. And if you're like, when I told you to get ready, for some of y'all, I need to get ready for entrepreneurship, go to my website, watch the free masterclass,
Mhm.
monetize your skills. It's free. Make the decision to invest in you on today. And remember, I'm not telling you this because like this is my comfort. I'm telling you this because my moral obligation. We cannot settle and look at life pass us by anymore.
Yes. Yes. And you said comfort. If you are comfortable, you're not doing enough. It's in the uncomfortable where we grow, where character is built, where strength is built, where courage is built, where we overcome fear. We have to start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's where you will be able to ignite the talents that you have, the faith that you have, and you will be able to use those to journey to more.
Did y'all hear her? Did y'all hear her? Okay, I'm gonna say it for the people in the back.
Yes.
He said, if you are comfortable, you aren't doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't even spark the fire to start your faith. Mm, that's it,
Yeah.
y'all. That's it. We out of here. It has been another journey to more. We're
Yes.
coming through with one more episode before summer break with Shayla Alexander. Guess what we're going to be talking about? I want to see all y'all back here in 2 weeks. How to make it through being a blueprint.
Yes.
Because was there a road for you to follow, like a roadmap for you to follow when you decided you
I
were on
wish,
the path?
but it was not. It was not. And it is okay. And I had to say, if there's no road for me to follow, then I'm gonna pave my own. I'm gonna pave my own, and you can pave your own.
That's why we here on this channel right
Yeah,
now, because I said, you know what? Stop waiting for people to put you on stages and make your own stage
make your own.
and let them come.
Make your own.
All right, y'all. And my best Martin voice, peace.
It's been a pleasure.